beautiful, sunny Los Angeles. Weird being back.
It's weird being back. You were gone for like a day, bro. Chill. You go to New York for a week, all of a sudden, it's weird being back. You're like those kids, they go to the Barcelona for a semester at sea program, and you're like, oh, Barcelona is so different.
I don't need this shit, man.
My accent has changed now, dramatically.
One of these days, I'm just gonna leave, man. I'm just gonna move away. You're gonna realize.
I'm gonna miss you when you're gone. Is that what you're saying?
You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Yeah.
I will. Wait till I replace you with another roll dog. Then you're cooked. There's so many chatters in here being like, I'd be your photo video guy. They're like, oh please.
I'm so good to you, chat.
Yeah.
I'm so good to you.
Nope. Look at that doggy. What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. Hi.
Oh, you're getting with a lot of people.
Wow, look at the crowds, dude. It's crazy.
Insane.
God damn. Some of the volunteers are
They're running a tight ship.
volunteering hard to kick me out of here. They're like, I don't see your press badge. We need someone to walk us in here, right? This is backstage?
We have access.
Okay. We only have a press pass, but we need someone with a yellow badge to walk us, is what I heard.
Somebody with access.
Yeah.
Access, then we can allow you.
Yeah. I have all access.
You just hover long enough, someone will recognize you.
Okay. Oh yeah, she has
I know
it.
who you are.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Isabel and Annie are sort of like overseeing this. I'm just press, but yeah, I can let you back.
Okay. Thank you.
I work for Rogana and Bernie. And
You're also live, by the way, just so you know.
I was like,
Go
if
ahead.
I meet Hassan, I'm stopping my work.
Okay.
I'm saying hi.
No, it's valid.
Hello. Hi, Will. You're amazing. Keep doing what you're
Nice to
doing.
meet you.
Thanks for all you do with the road, too.
Yeah, I'm just here supporting the fight against fascism and oligarchy, and so I represent Nashville in the legislature in the South, and we know that in the South we have the system of plantation politics we're still fighting against, and so the youngest got kicked out in 2023 for protesting, but we're continuing to engage in good trouble. So,
Hell yeah. What do you? Does this give you a little bit of enthusiasm seeing so many people out here?
I think it's powerful. I mean, we coming together to say that this is not normal what's going on right now, and to see is a multiracial, multi-generational coalition. So it gives a little bit of encouragement. I came from Tennessee, did an event at Coachella about activism. That's why I drove over with Maxwell Frost over here to support the rally.
Oh, you guys have something going on at Coachella as well?
Yesterday, we did a panel about grassroots organizing. So yeah.
That's
we have to
cool.
go to unexpected places. I think that's going to music festivals, going to places, meeting people where they are is critical right now.
Did you see anybody at Coachella while you were there?
Glorilla, Lady Gaga.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So.
Was it good?
It was good. When are you gonna run, brother? We got to get you.
Oh no. I feel like I have utility doing this
True, yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah. Well, thank you for keeping people informed more than the corporate media. You tell the truth and you say things that need to be said and are not worried about like being censored or the consequence. But you just got to shine light of truth on what's happening right now. So.
What do you feel are some of the inefficiencies that you're seeing from the Democratic Party right now?
I think we're not recognizing the urgency of this moment. I think people are still trying to play patty cake and make friends with fascists, and we have to recognize that these are not folks who have our best interests. There's no way to find a moderation with people who want to destroy this nation and destroy people of color, destroy people who are trans, destroy immigrants. There's no common ground, and so we have to recognize that there's urgency and that we have to fight. We can't be afraid to fight back, and and that means civility is not always the way, decorum is not always the way. Sometimes democracy requires disruption, and that's what we need right now. Thanks, brother.
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah. Thank you. Keep up the good fight.
Executive Director of Progressive Democrats of America.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
You're live, by the way.
What?
You're live right now.
Oh, I am great. Well, on behalf of the young Progressive Democrats of America, I'm here with your hero, Hassan Piker.
Oh,
so you've been in touch with some of our steering committee from YPA. I'd love to tell you what we do. We are the organization that drafted Bernie Sanders to run for president as a Democrat. Back before Sanders ran in 2016, we were the big fish in the small pond of electoral left politics. And now we're one of the major national mass membership organizations. We're on the far left wing of the Democratic Party, Democratic Socialist, Social Democratic. But man, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the contemporary Democratic Party, more than mine, because I hear mine all the time.
I say mine all the time. They know my thoughts on the contemporary Democratic Party. It's always a day late and a dollar short. at a time when there's no time to waste, you know?
Don't you think the base of the party, though, supports the Sanders platform?
I do.
Right.
Yes, I think so.
So it's the money
And
power that controls.
I still think like even the Sanders platform doesn't go far enough by my estimation.
Right, to your audience, don't forget, we're in a situation where, by the way, a lot of political scientists and historians note that left progressive
Some of your young progressives over there.
the success for a left progressive movement, especially a redistributive one, happens after a severe crisis in the world. We have our crisis. We have an opportunity to remake America on a social democratic socialist plane, folks, with universal health care, a prosperous middle class, not dominated by oligarchs. But here's the thing. Is the Democratic Party the vehicle or the barrier? It was the vehicle in FDR's time, and if it is the vehicle, because I think we need unity, therefore we're not going to see third partyism, because no one's going to start a third party, because no one will vote against the fascists. We need unity to defeat the fascists, but we got to make that vehicle of unity what the people want, or it will be gaslighting and it will lose.
Yeah, I agree.
So there we go.
Right. Nice to meet you. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm being too disruptive. I'm good. How are you?
That was at the convention.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't even schedule anything. We were just kind of going. We're just doing it casual, but. All right, we're here with Khanna, everybody. Remember a lot of the stuff that we had a conversation about at the DNC. I feel like I was ringing the alarm bells.
You were right.
And
you were ringing it on Gaza.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it feels like it came true, and now we are staring down the barrel of unlimited control in a very scary way. The erosion of due process, the erosion of the First Amendment. How do you feel about all of this?
Well, it is very, very concerning. The only thing that we have going for us is people are realizing Bernie Sanders was right. You know, I co-chaired his campaign. 40,000 people out here today standing up against mass deportations. Supreme Court ruled that Abrego couldn't be deported to El Salvador because people are speaking out. I'm going to Yale Law School on Tuesday to take the fight to J.D. Vance. Both of us went to Yale. And it's one of the most hard-hitting speeches. I'm going to call them out on calling universities the enemy, on watching idly while students are being snatched from universities for speaking out on free speech.
Law school, the law firms as well. It's very obvious that the Trump administration is actively undermining any part of the legal apparatus that could even remotely fight back against the unjustifiable, unconstitutional actions that they're engaging in. I think aside from protesting, which is great, what are some of the tangible things that people can do?
Show up in red districts, and I've been on this town hall tour. 1,000 people in rural California, going to Nebraska, Pennsylvania, because we can get Republicans in these swing districts to start to speak out. They are. Josh Hawley called Trump and said, I can't vote for any Medicaid cuts. You got the Supreme Court now at least saying you can't just deport people without due process. You have people like Don Bacon speaking out against the tariffs. It's too few, but the more we mobilize, the more some Republicans are going to start speaking out.
So the suggestion for people in red districts is to go out and
show up on social media, show up at town halls, show up at rallies. By the way, there are all these studies that show 5% of the country's population marches and mobilizes. That's the biggest way to push back against authoritarian tendencies. We got there almost in this past weekend, 5 million people. So we have got to just continue to organize, show up, mobilize. Your voice matters, and it's making a difference. People say, how's it making a difference? Look at the Supreme Court. Look at them backing up Medicaid cuts in the Senate.
All right. Well, thank you, Khanna.
Thank you.
Are you still the youngest?
I'm still the youngest. Yeah, I'm 28 now.
28.
Hopefully that changes though, because if you're the youngest for too long, that's a problem. Because I'm getting older.
Yeah.
So
what do you think about a lot of the young talent in the Democratic Party right now that are coming out?
I think we're going to see the most young people running for office we've seen this cycle coming up. And I think it's going to be for Congress, but it's also going to be for a lot of local offices and just all different types of offices. Partly, obviously because of everything going on right now, the fascist kind of takeover and billionaire takeover, I think is activating a lot of young people. But it's activating a lot of young people that are at the age where they've also been through a lot of other social movements, and maybe they weren't old enough to run for office, or it pushed them to, go out and march. So I'm thinking about things like George Floyd, March for Our Lives, the older kind of Gen Z contingent, which I'm the oldest of, we've been through all of those, and now they're at a point where like movements like this, now they can actually run for office. They're old enough to run for office. They've been organizing long enough, so I think we're going to see a lot of it.
Do you feel like at times the rest of your caucus might present hurdles in front of more radical elements coming from people that are out here, people that are out on the streets in general?
Yeah, and it's the people, but the institution itself is not meant for people to come in and say everyone should have health care. We should do something about the climate crisis. Like, there's hella hurdles, and honestly, my biggest hurdle is financial. Like, you have to raise money, then you have to have money to live. Like, one of the first things I did when I got in Congress is we helped pass this rule with the FEC where candidates can give themselves a better stipend. Because, you know, I had to drive Uber and I was homeless during my campaign for 2 months because I didn't have enough money to sustain myself. And that shit, we don't count the number of candidates that drop out because they can't afford to continue. Like, they can't afford their rent, and so they have to stop.
Yeah.
So the institution itself is not set for anyone from the left, any progressives to make it in, and then young progressives, young working class progressives, it's even harder. We still have to try, but when we get in, I think every progressive that wins an election, part of the things they have to focus on is changing the institution to make it easier for more progressives to get in.
Okay. Some of the setbacks you said are the campaign stipends offered. Are there any other setbacks that you experienced that you wanna work on fixing?
Raising money. I mean, we really need to have publicly funded elections. The fact that you have to raise money for these races automatically puts all working class people at a disadvantage. And in congressional races, 98% of the people who win raised the most money. So that's a huge thing. Then dark money, we have to end Citizens United and super PACs. I mean, that's a huge liability. And I can tell you, being in Congress, there's times where I talk with colleagues who are like, I want to vote this way on something, but I'm worried about a primary and tons of money coming in.
Leak some names. It's
just like a sentiment. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just that
I mean, one issue that I can think of is obviously Israel. This is a major fissure amongst the Democratic base of support, both pre-election and even post-election.
Yeah.
Newest polls that came out from Pew show 71% of all Democrats have an unfavorable opinion of Israel.
Yeah.
We had 80% demanding a ceasefire within the Democratic Party's base.
And the ceasefire numbers have been consistent throughout the last, since October 7th. And so, yes. Israel-Palestine is one of the issues where obviously we see the most money. We saw what happened with Jamal and Corey. Crypto is another one that's rising up, that's matching that money, that's also concerning. But here's the thing, and this is why I think now even more moderate Democrats are going to start speaking more about Citizens United, is now you have Elon saying, I'm going to target and he's saying more like centrist moderate Democrats too. Unfortunately, people a lot of times don't feel that energy or urgency until they're the one, and obviously people have been trying to talk about this for a while. What happened to Jamal? What happened to Corey? And so, yeah. But yeah.
Do you feel like it's the fear that they might get primaried themselves that stops people from taking an active stance in this and behaving
more
in
people would have called for
democratic fashion?
Yeah, more, and most of the country believed in a ceasefire. Most of the country, I think, is in a position of where we need to end occupation, right? I think most people are on that. And then beyond that, there's policy differences, but most people are there. But if you talk about, ending the occupation, stuff like that, you put yourself in a tough position politically, and that's why a lot of people don't talk about it. And so big money out of politics is really important for this issue, for a lot of different issues as well.
I think ultimately what a lot of these people out here demand is that their representatives actually behave like public servants and fight for them.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's twofold. You have the Democrats that actually have to take a position of leadership and actually move the national conversation in the direction of the unjustifiable deportations regime, the erosion of due process, the erosion of the First Amendment at the behest of a foreign nation. And I think all of those things, a lot of these people will be on board with.
Yeah.
But it's not broadly reflected at this moment from even the polls. But even when it is reflected in the polls, there's the secondary problem where the Democrats that say that they want to operate on David Shore's popularist mentality, but there's clearly a bunch of issues that I would consider to be gimmies that they're not actually tackling at all.
Well, and the other thing is, and I've been telling a lot of people, like, you got to think critically about these polls, because after we lost the election, a lot of Democrats were like knee-jerk reaction. Oh, immigration, we went too far, whatever that means. Trans rights, we went too far on human rights. I don't know you got too far on human rights. But here's the thing. If you look into the numbers and you look at the ads, I actually viewed not every, but a lot of the ads the right wing did. They were never about trans people. They were never about immigrants, because most of this country is fine with trans people. Most of this country wants people to have their rights and be dignified and not be discriminated against, whether you're a trans person or not. Most people know immigrants are important. Most people are against mass deportation of undocumented people. But what the right wing does is they find a vulnerability and they look at the numbers and try to see, okay, we know that most people don't want to be hurt. So the crimes or the ads on immigration weren't just about immigration. It was about the most craven, bloodthirsty, undocumented immigrant you can find. And if you don't like Trump, they're going to come and get you. I think what Democrats have to do is not shy away, but we have to be very forward and stand 10 toes down and dominate the conversation, because if you leave it open, they will take advantage of it. We did it to them on abortion and guns. So we can't allow that to happen.
I agree. I mean, this is what I've been screaming about from the rooftops, even before this election,
and it's not
in perpetuity. But it does feel like a lot of Democrats, at least like older Democrats, that have calcified in their positions of comfort and their positions, their ideological positions, refuse to tackle any of these issues head on and are too terrified of counter messaging on anything and demonstrating leadership. And one of the things that the Republicans did, I mean, they know their positions are unpopular, but they still actively push for it and dominate the media landscape. And it's not just about appearing on podcasts. It's a multifaceted approach where the people, the representatives themselves, are reflecting the values that they want the base to have. Whereas in this situation, we have popular mobilization happening in one direction, but the Democratic Party is not responsive to the demands being made. Even a demand as simple as fight back against this administration.
I will say I'm seeing, at least where I work, I'm seeing a big, like a shift going on, in part because of this, and these rallies happening very close to a lot of congressional districts, and I think that shift is really important. We saw what happened in the CR vote. Obviously, the Senate messed this up, but I'm not sure we would have been that strong if it wasn't for these mobilizations going on. So I'm 100% with you on it. I mean, a lot of people are learning all the wrong lessons from this last election, and part of the purpose of these rallies, I think, too, is to get people engaged, but also make sure people know these issues. I find the word like the center so interesting, because everyone has a different definition of what the center is. Is it what most people believe or what's most likely to get done in the institution right now? Because Medicare for All is the center. Like, most people are for it, right? The ceasefire is the center, was the center. And so this is we're the moral center of politics. So I feel like we got to lean in. If we don't, we're going to lose more. We're going to lose worse.
One last thing that I want to bring up, in terms of the trans issue, or in terms of getting bullied on this sort of stuff, on immigration, beyond counter messaging, I think the Democrats are not identifiable on tangible policy prescriptions to the problems that American people are facing. What would you say are 3 top policy positions that would identify you?
Ooh, that would identify me?
Yeah.
Well, a big one I have to bring up is, and specific policy positions, I would say, like banning assault weapons, generally around gun violence. Gun violence is what got me involved in politics when I was 15 because of Sandy Hook shooting. And then we had Pulse nightclub, like where I live. And 3 months after that, I survived gun violence in downtown Orlando. So the reason I always bring up gun violence is it's the symptom of other issues, like housing. And so I would say that. The other one is fixing the housing crisis. We really need better tenant protections and national rent freeze or rent control. I think is really necessary. Housing is the #1 issue I hear about from people when I knock doors.
Yeah.
Because whether you're a tenant or a homeowner, you're pissed off right now on the housing situation. And then I'd say the third one would be Medicare for all. I mean, and just getting everyone health care. I think that would be one of the most transformational things to happen in this country in terms of like lifting everybody up. But we, like just a million things we need to do.
Yeah, no, there are a lot.
But
of
I'd say
problems.
those three really like identify with my story and why I came to this work.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
thanks a lot.
Yep, good to see you, man.
Nice to meet you.